Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dineli. I'm the head of School of Information Systems at Deakin. On behalf of my university, welcome to all of you here. Thank you very much for making the time to be with us. It's a very special day for us when we are launching our brand new degree. I want to make a special welcome to our participants on our webinar. We've got about 50 people who are listening to us and watching us on a live webcast. Moral here is managing the webinar, so if she's looking distracted, it's because she's keeping them going. We will have questions at the end, so I hope you can see us and hear us well. And if you have any problems, please type into your interactive text box and Moral will respond to you. Now we have a very packed program today. We've sort of jam-packed the hour with lots and lots of presentations. We're going to start with a formal launch of the degree. This is a brand new degree. It's going to start in July. We are then going to look at why you would gain a qualification in business analytics, and then go on to have a look at the key features of this particular degree. Some of our industry sponsors are here today to give you a flavor of the expertise they bring into the program, and then we'll have a look at some of the nuts and bolts of the degree in terms of the course structure, how it's delivered, and how you can actually apply for admission. So to start us off, I'd like to welcome Professor Gail MacDonald, who is the Pro Vice Chancellor in the Faculty of Business and Law, to formally welcome you and launch the degree.
Thank you very much. A warm welcome to you all, to our staff, to our industry partners, and to hopefully our future students. There are probably more than one here in the audience this evening. First of all, our Vice-Chancellor, Professor Jane Den Hollander, apologises that she can't be here this evening. She actually has a graduation, but she would very much like to have been here for this particular launch of what is a very unique and niche degree for Deakin. So it's interesting to learn that the world's technology per capita capacity to store information has roughly doubled every 40 months since 1980s. For example, decoding the human genome originally took 10 years to process, and now it can be achieved in 1 week. In business, the volume of business data worldwide across all companies apparently doubles every 1.2 years. Now, Walmart, just as an example, handles more than 1 million customer transactions every hour. The information is imported into databases with 2,506 terabytes of data. And if we wonder, well, what does that actually look like, that amount of data? Well, it's the equivalent to 167 times the information contained in all the books in the US Library of Congress. So data sets are growing in size, in part because they are increasingly being gathered by ubiquitous sources, such as mobile devices and aerial sensory technology, software logs, cameras, microphones, radio frequency identification readers, and wireless sensor networks. So the data growth challenges and opportunities, are seen from a three-dimensional point of view: increasing volume, velocity, and variety, just the range of data types and sources. So challenges for large enterprises include data capture, curation, storage, search, sharing, transfer, analysis, and of course the visualization of data. So an additional challenge is in determining who should own big data initiatives that straddle an entire organization. But the real challenge is actually what sort of data can we generate, and particularly what advantages can we reap from it. Now, enter business analytics, and for those in the audience that obviously clearly have an interest in this area, the whole process and benefits of examining large amounts of data and a variety of types and forms to uncover hidden patterns, unknown correlations, trends, and useful information is just a minefield of opportunity for business. Now, such information can obviously help us with better decision making, more competitive advantages over rival organizations, but there are some pitfalls. And we're well aware of what those pitfalls are that can trip up an organization. These include how do you integrate so many different data warehouses, lack of internal analytics skills, and more importantly, the shortage of experienced analytical professionals. So if you're looking at where do we come in, that's where Deakin really sees a unique need that we want to fill. And that's what the Masters of Business Analytics is about. So the Faculty of Business and Law prides itself on being engaged, flexible, and most of all, relevant. And the degree that you are about to see actually demonstrates the contemporary approach we're taking to our programs to meet emerging needs. And it's important to note that this is a new discipline. It's, however, not just a standalone course, because this specialization can occur also in the MBA, the MCOM, and also the Masters of Information Systems, as well as providing opportunities for all students at Deakin to take these units as electives. So we're hoping that our reach is not just confined within the School of Information Systems, and many students will be able to generate these skills. So in closing, I am particularly thrilled with the Masters of Business Analytics, and we have some fantastic partners here this evening. And now these partners have participated in the design, and they'll also assist in the delivery, and hopefully will also employ our graduates. So we have a very enviable lineup, which include Deloitte, Ernst & Young, IBM, with whom we have the Centre for Excellence in Business Analytics, Microsoft, SAS, and of course the professional body for analytics, IAPA. So thank you for taking the time to be with us here this evening, and I'll have to resist the temptation to smash a bottle of champagne over the podium, but I now officially declare the degree launched.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Gail. That's hot off the press. This is the first public viewing of that media file. So it's been uploaded onto YouTube this afternoon. Please pass it on. Now, the next question. Why would you gain a qualification in business analytics? And I think the best person to respond to that is the chairman of the Institute of Analytics Professionals in Australia, Doug Campbell. So Doug's going to give you a snapshot of career prospects in business analytics in Australia. Thank you, Doug.
Thank you. All right, thank you, and congratulations, Deakin. That's fantastic to see you leaping to the overarching demand from industry for this sought-after skill, which hopefully a lot of you here today want to get involved and immersed in. As Dineli said, I represent IAPA, the Institute of Analytics Professionals of Australia. It's grown phenomenally in the 7 years of existence in Australia. So let's just give you a few facts and figures about IAPA and therefore the local Australian analytics market. We've almost got to 3,000 local members now. Phenomenal, given that there were only 300 in 2006 when we launched, and from over 450 organisations, which a lot of you will be members, and the huge variety in that series of organisations, which I'll touch on shortly. In the last year, we've seen a 73% growth. So the demand for this skill and the people getting involved in this area is phenomenal. The site, we've got a community. You can see our mission statement up there. It is really to unite, inform and support this emerging discipline. And we want to provide information sources, a networking hub and a professional identity. We've got 6 active chapters, so we are truly supporting the Australian industry. And again, thanks to Deakin for this opportunity to talk about the demand for this skill set, and also that fantastic video that we'll have to post up online to get it known to our 3,000, because again, we want people to be embracing this kind of course and the benefits associated with that. You can see here, if I actually build the chart here, we've done some rudimentary analysis on our own membership to give you an idea of who's looking for this skill set by volume, just in order of number of members ranked 1 to 20 in our membership. So you can see some of the brands in this top 20 are, some of the most sought after organisations to work for in the local community, and you'd see again the kind of brands there are quite diverse with regard to both supply side from the leading services providers, software, but also you can see financial services dominates. And the reason that is because the vast amount of data they need in order to run their business. Basically, financial services is a virtual product, and therefore data is everything to them in terms of the way they go to market. You can also see amongst the top 20 there, we've also got someone you engage with once a year, you'd hope. If not, they'll be watching you. It's the Australian Tax Office. So again, they've been one of the biggest users of analytics, and in fact, Warwick Greco is on our board and was a founding member of our organisation, and the ATO have been pioneers in the field of analytics to protect the taxpayer dollar and ensure compliance across the citizenship of Australia. Might like to say in joint 18th place, but I'm sure that's going to grow as Deakin. So again, they take it seriously. They eat their own dog food. They're very much involved in our organisation. So we've also recently completed a salary survey, which some of you may have participated in. And again, like Dineli, this is the first time this is getting any public consumption. It'll be reported in June. But I thought for tonight, talking about the demand for analytics, I wanted to give you a view as to, who is using these skill sets and where do these people come from with regard to their educational background and what you need to succeed in this industry. So I'm proud to say that the survey actually got more responses than KD Nuggets, which is a very well-known US-based organisation. So the local Australian analytics community are very much engaged in the industry body. So again, it's a great networking hub for those of you interested. And again, Deakin are involved too. But you can look at just a couple of the questions we've got there in terms of the diversity of educational background that make it into the field of analytics. So as you'd expect, maths and stats are significantly important to the field. But again, what's second and third, business, finance and commerce. And what we see from an IAPA perspective is, again, you can get a large amount of quantitative understanding, but if you don't have that rounded knowledge of how to influence an organisation to change its processes, then that quantitative knowledge can be just theory, and you pay a lot of money for a theoretical exercise that doesn't change or save money or increase revenues. So, and again, Deakin, with the curriculum they've put together, looking at information management, business analytics, the quantitative side, and how to implement analytics into business processes, is a very well-rounded curriculum that we see through the industry as being important to success. Also, why do an analytics degree? Well, you're going to need to compete with who's already out there. Okay, you can see the amount of people with high-level educational attainment is significant in this industry. So again, if you're new to the field, then you really do need to be focusing on how you differentiate. And again, a course like this will give you something that employers will look to. And you can't say salary survey without actually showing the distribution curve of what people earn in the industry. Now again, I must say this is draft results, so this may change in the final report, but I thought I can't resist the opportunity tonight to show you, the earning capacity of people in this field. So again, for those of you at the back, and maybe online, the actual sort of median is around the $140,000 mark, which is significantly above the Australian average salary, obviously. So it is a factor from the demand for this skill and the undersupply. So again, this course will help fill that supply to some extent. In terms of people who responded to the salary survey, again, if you look down the industry list, that's just a proportional representation of the responders. Professional services, a lot of us here tonight and the people involved in this course actually work and consult to industry about how to apply analytics. So again, huge amount of people involved in analytics with IAPA from the supply side and consulting and the provision of analytics services. But again, look at the organisations from an industry perspective who need analytics and leverage analytics. Again, financial services, general insurance, telecommunications and so on. But it's really encouraging to see that we've got some of the government organisations and the agencies out there also seeking to deploy best use of their taxpayer revenue, if you like, through the provision of better services to those most in need, or the equitable distribution of resources. So it's good to see, especially for us in a day job who provide services to clients. It's all well and good helping banks make more money and telecommunications make more margin. It's also good to help the agencies use their finite budgets in order to provide services to those who most need it. So in closing, I'd just like to sort of re-emphasise why get involved in a course that Deakin are offering, and I congratulate them again on launching this course and being a first mover in the Australian marketplace. Well, I think from what you've seen from our membership and the response to the salary survey, you have the opportunity to differentiate yourself in a very rewarding market, and you can attain access to the most interesting and challenging of roles. You can collaborate with the best in industry. You'll see tonight the kind of brands who are behind this course are some of the most sought after employers in Australia, both from services, software, the actual practitioners of analytics, and the academics involved as well. Again, evenings like this, but also participation in the course, will enable you to build your own network, make those connections that will last your career, understand where you could go next in your next role challenge. We'll also, it will provide you with understanding how analytics is used in other areas. So you may be stagnating in your current role or not knowing where to go next for your next opportunity. By coming to these events, getting involved in the course, networking, you'll understand what's possible from the field of analytics, and the demand is there. Deakin are helping with meeting that through supply. So thanks for your involvement.
Thank you very much, Doug. I'm a bit concerned after seeing that salary curve. We might lose some of our academic staff to industry. Okay, we'll now look at the course a little bit. So apart from being the first coursework program in business analytics in Australia, it also has features that really sets it apart from other courses globally. And there are three particular things I want to focus on. The first is the course structure. This course is not just about data and analytics. The core units of the course cover the full spectrum of the business analytics value chain. So I'll go into more detail later. So it's a very broad course, and it looks at how analytics is used and how you get return on investment from your analytics projects as well. Rather than have an individual unit in big data, we've actually taken big data concepts across the course. We've integrated it across the information management, across the analytics, as well as looking at the business value end. We've allowed students to have 4 electives, and we've allowed students to choose what they want to do. Do they want to add a bit more breadth to what we offer? Do they want to add more depth? They can take electives from any part of the university. With the delivery, like a lot of Deakin courses, this is offered on and off campus. But with off-campus study, we are introducing a lot of new technologies. So this webinar that we're running at the moment, it's an interactive webinar tool where students can ask questions. We are going to use this at all of our on-campus sessions, so off-campus students can be there. It's also recorded, and it will be put on our learning management system. Deakin has 3 periods of teaching each year, so we have a trimester rather than a semester model, which means that you can spread your load as a part-time student across the year and still finish this program in 2 years. So you could study part-time and get a master's in 2 years. We've also looked at our units of study. Rather than being offered week in, week out through the trimester, we put them into modules. So even the on-campus students don't have to come on campus week in, week out. Again, I'll give a bit more detail on that later on. And the last part of this is the practice focus. This course was developed with extensive consultation and with industry. So industry has been involved in designing the program. They will also be involved in delivering the program. So they bring a very different perspective to this course than what we would have if we ran it on our own. So a significant proportion of the course is taught by industry practitioners, and we have state-of-the-art analytics tools. We've got IBM Cognos SaaS products, Microsoft Tableau integrated into the program. So students will use the software that they're going to need when they go out into the workplace. So the industry involvement happens in 3 ways. So we've got the analytics tools and the expertise they bring. So we have people from IBM who will actually deliver sessions into business intelligence, talking about how to use Cognos in the best possible way. So they will teach the subject matter as well as the software. And similarly with Microsoft and SaaS products. Then we have the practice consulting experience. All the data we use in our teaching will be real data. We have real case studies. And in a number of the compulsory units, we have a module which is a third of the unit delivered by a practitioner looking at how you would implement that theory in real life. And we also have practitioners role-playing into case studies to give students an idea of how to make this happen if you're out there. Then we have specialized expertise. So we have a data visualization expert who's going to teach a module in data visualization, similarly with optimization and so on. So this is how we involve industry in the course. They're involved at every level, and they will also be involved in careers events. They will do recruitment. They will give you opportunities to network with them and understand what career opportunities are available to them, to you. Now we're going to have some presentations from some of our industry partners who are able to be here this evening to give you a flavor of the kind of expertise that they bring into this course. So I'll start off with Deloitte. Matt Cooperholz is going to make a presentation about Deloitte Analytics and tell us that he's going to recruit lots of our graduates.
Definitely. Thanks, Dineli.
Thanks.
G'day. Congratulations to Deakin.
Thank you.
I think it's fantastic. I think it's definitely about time. I was at university a long time ago. I've been data mining for about 22 years now, and in a deep and meaningful relationship with computers for about 35 years. I studied at uni. I was doing actuarial science and computer science, and the two things were so foreign that I had my exams timetabled on top of one another. There were only 2 of us doing that combination. I mean, it seems so obvious now that if you're going to be playing with numbers, you've got to be playing with computers. Similarly, I'm sure if you're studying graphic design at uni and something in analytics, you would also have your exams timetabled on top of each other, because these things used to be diametrically opposed. You know, we sat in front of green screens. It didn't have to look good. The numbers had to be right. And now it's all about visualization, making things beautiful and communicating very complex concepts visually. So it's been really interesting watching some of these trends over the last 22 years. At Deloitte, we were fortunate enough in Australia about 7 years ago. I've been building the analytics practice with Deloitte for about 8 years. There were about 5 of us when we started. There's now 170 in Australia and a couple of thousand worldwide. But we were very fortunate to have a really visionary CEO who saw this mega trend of analytics and the power of data and took a really decent bet on backing it, and in fact has committed to three relevant things I want to bring up. Analytics will be last. The first one is innovation, and the commitment at Deloitte that 30% of every dollar you make, 30 cents in a dollar, $3 out of 10, has to come from something you weren't doing 2 years ago, which is fine for us in analytics, and it's probably fine for the guys in digital. But imagine if you're sitting in audit or tax or legal, and you have to be doing something you weren't doing 2 years ago. So they talk about innovation being in our lifeblood, but that's been a fantastic time to be a hardcore computer nerd at Deloitte with this focus on innovation, the rapid change in the industry. The other thing that Deloitte's been really committed to that's definitely been symbiotic with analytics is digital. We've got the largest web development and mobile app development company in Australia as a wholly owned subsidiary. And with some of the mega trends we're seeing in digital, Gasolomo is a neat way to remember it. Gamification, social, location-based services, and mobility all generate enormous amounts of data. So the need for them to be underpinned and enhanced and work together with analytics is key. The last one is analytics, and the commitment at Deloitte that analytics is powering everything we do, not an add-on service. Why don't you take some analytics with your human capital consulting? Why don't you take some analytics to augment your strategy and operations consulting? Everything we do is powered by analytics. So there's not been a more exciting place to sit, and there's an old saying that a guy who loves what he does never works a day in his life, and I truly am excited to get up and apply brain power to solve problems with analytics. So a little bit of a presentation. This concept of data as an asset, which is something we've been saying for about 8 years now. It's a really interesting class of asset because obviously your cash at bank or your gold or your work in progress can be valued pretty easily. But the value of your data is realised through the analytics you apply to it. So we're finding these clients who've got these data assets that aren't working anywhere near as hard as they can. And I'll just play a short video because you guys played one, so I want to play one too, to talk about Deloitte's viewpoint on data as an asset.
Your data is full of potential. It comes in all shapes and sizes. It's stored in all kinds of ways. It can suggest opportunities and the odd hazard. It represents a wealth of possibilities. That's why we look at an organization's data from the inside out. Like other companies, we can help you capture your data, manage it, and analyze it. But only Deloitte has the deep industry experience, advanced analytics capability, and understanding of decision makers' roles to maximize data's value, turning your everyday information into useful and actionable insights, helping you make smarter decisions. You know your data is full of potential. We'll help you look at it from the inside out.
So very exciting time to be involved in analytics and particularly at Deloitte, but Hal Valerian, the chief economist of Google, said this a couple of years ago, and it was laughed at the time. I think he's taken it a bit more seriously now. He said, what's the sexiest job in the next 10 years going to be? And he said it's going to be statisticians or data scientists or data miners because of the mega trends in the world, the way these things are moving. It's the people who can make sense of it, which is why this course is so important. A little bit more on Deloitte and how we deliver it. We think analytics is a bunch of different things. Dineli's already touched on this, is going to be covered throughout the course, from the pure analytics to the managing of information and the reporting on it, whether you're looking back or trying to predict the future or trying to visualise and communicate it. There's many different ways you can deliver analytics, and we talk about 4 of them here. One-off analytics assignments versus subscribing to a service versus us helping you fish yourself and putting it inside an organisation. We're also experimenting with new and exciting ways of delivering it. Been involved with the Kaggle guys since the outset, and I think it's amazing how crowdsourcing analytics just smashes the status quo on the performance in the predictive modelling space. Finally, just touching on how we think about what we do with analytics, these 5 practice domains. One of the most mature ones is the customer analytics, where customers of organisations are leaving these beautiful digital fingerprints everywhere, and there's so much we can enrich with external data and social, and whether we're using it for marketing and Salesforce or segmentation. And I guess the theme under all of these things is most professional services is robbing Peter to pay Paul. Yeah, it's a zero-sum game, and what you find somewhere, you're basically taking away from somewhere else. Analytics is the mythical free lunch. It's the win-win situation. It's the happier customer as well as the more profitable company. It's the happier and more challenged employee as well as the more efficient employee management. It allows us to find those insights, whether we're talking about customers or in our supply chain or in our financials, or do a lot of work around workplace. Pretty proud of the work we do with safety, which helps large miners and other organisations stop killing people, which is obviously a good thing to do so they can go home safely to their families at night, but also a very good thing to do financially. And risk analytics, so the sort of the catch-all of trying to manage risk, which is a pretty tricky thing to define, even at the best of times. So, one last saying, this is W. Edwards Deming, a very famous statistician, passed in '93, but not after helping Japan reinvent their manufacturing industry based on scientific method. In God we trust, everyone else bring data. Never more true than today. It's not going anywhere, it's only growing massively. I'm very excited to be involved in this course. one of the neat things that occurs to me about playing with analytics at Deloitte, having come from a very large national professional services company before, where Australia's this tiny little slice of the pie, and you're sort of dictated to predominantly by the US, but also Europe's got a fair amount of say as well. Because we had this CEO that backed it so early, we've actually been out in front in Australia, and it's a real pleasure to see Australia leading the Deloitte world. The Deloitte Analytics Institute teaches courses developed by Australia at the Deloitte University. So it's been very exciting to be part of something since its outset, much the same as I'm excited to be part of this course from its outset. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Matt. I'd now like to call Mike Willett from Ernst & Young, giving Matt a little bit of competition, I think.
I think I don't need a clicker, I've got no
great.
slides.
Thank you. Stay behind the lectern and talk to that.
Sure. So we may be competitors, but I think we've all got the same passion and commitment for our clients to get the most value that they can out of their data. At Ernst & Young, we have a fundamental belief that the use of data can help release creativity and innovation in the organisations by providing new and exciting perspectives and new ways of looking at old problems and old challenges. We believe that the organisations that can take advantage of their data assets or the data available to them, be that data internal data within their own systems or external data that's made public, those organisations have a better chance of achieving their strategic outcomes by making better decisions on a day-to-day basis. And those decisions that they make, they could be operational decisions. So, somebody in a call centre about what to talk about the customer, what to sell the customer next, versus significant strategic decisions about where to invest capital, what programs to put money into going forward. These decisions could be about improving how they manage risk or how they could look to improve your performance of the organisation. And these exist, I guess, both across the public sector, be it in education, health, transport, as well as in the private sector, be it financial services, resources, utilities or telcos. What we believe is at Ernst & Young, what we need people who are data literate, who can understand and appreciate the value of data, to take those views and those outcomes, I guess, and understanding to our clients to help them solve the problems that they have. As a result, I guess, of these sort of beliefs that we have in our firm at the moment, we're making a pretty significant investment in a competency and a practice called enterprise intelligence. That's our information management and analytics practice. We're investing in the people, upskilling them, making sure they're aware of the latest techniques that they need and the latest technologies. We're investing in the process as well, so they have high quality analytics that can be deployed quickly, and investing in the technology as well, be that hardware or software. And this investment is not just, I guess, within our own sort of service line. This is across all of the service lines of Ernst & Young. So whether you're an accountant working in audit, whether you're a consultant working on a digital strategy, whether you're advising a client on how to optimise their supply chain, all of those services can be enhanced and enriched and further value added by bringing a data angle to the table. The clients of Ernst & Young, they all have different needs, and they're all at sort of different stages, many of them, in terms of how they want to use the data that's available to them. For some of them, they're very early days. They're looking to implement technology, be it warehousing or a Hadoop cluster. They're thinking about that. Others are a bit further advanced. They're thinking about information and data governance, so they put policies and processes around the data so they can take advantage of it. Some are looking to collect data as well, particularly in the public sector, and collecting data to drive public policy decisions. Some are looking for improved reporting. How can their reporting give more insight into whether or not the strategic objectives that they're looking to achieve can actually be obtained or not? Many are looking at the use of more advanced analytics as well, either in the customer space in terms of the segmentation and understanding their customer base better so they can sell more, or in the supply chain, or in managing their risk. And visualization as well is important. So a number of our clients have a lot of technical capability to generate the numbers, but they can't present it in a compelling way. So they look for help in terms of how to visualize that data to tell the story that they want to tell about their data. So at Ernst & Young, there's opportunities to support all of our clients at all of those levels and at all different layers, I guess, of a project delivery. You can be hands-on or you can look for a more management role as well. We need people across the wide spectrum of those services to deliver those services. Because what we believe is that those people that understand and appreciate data and then can apply that in a practical sense, they'll be very sought after, not just by Ernst & Young and the other industry partners here, but also in industry as well. So we're very proud as well to be associated with the Deakin course, and we congratulate you on the launch today, and we look forward hopefully for the opportunity to work with some of you, if not all of you, in the course in the upcoming year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'd now like to invite Cameron Wilkinson from IBM to tell us a little bit about the practice, but also the software tools.
Great, thanks. So many of us have seen examples of big data in practice and the application of analytics, and some of the examples that IBM have worked on over the past year have been, say, in the hospitals, where we look at the vital signs for infant children as they're born, and we're able to analyse those to intervene, and in some cases up to 24 hours earlier than previously available, so to help save lives. In the oil and gas industry, we also work with organisations to help understand the gas flows and to improve efficiencies through their network to reduce costs. And the telecommunication providers is another clear example, and banks, as Doug mentioned, who use this for use analytics for their customer churn analysis to reduce those. So essentially what we're saying is the whole realm of analytics gives industry, social services, governments and citizens a better chance at achieving outcomes and improved services. So IBM's approach is very much to address the issues of business analytics and optimisation, and we have a practice here in Australia which consists of over 150 services delivery people and 4,000 elsewhere in the globe. We have very large R&D process programs, so that we have one of the labs here in Melbourne, and we also have a variety of labs around the globe. The focus that IBM has placed on business analytics has been significant in the last couple of years. We've made many significant investments in software, and some of those you've seen are going to be used for the course material. We have a real vision of the next period of growth for IBM will be around mobility, social media, cloud, and analytics. And those four tenets are very much how we're going to go forward and engage with our clients, with government, with industry. And the analytics, in my perspective, underpins all those four pillars of focus that IBM has. And I think when we kind of look at the era of, when we go through, IBM's history has been over 100 years now, and we look at the traditional environment that was operating when we first were formed, and that was probably a more tabulating era. And then about 30 or 40 years ago, we got into the programmable era. And now I think we've taken a real shift, and we're into the cognitive era. And by that I mean we're coming up with things where humans are programming machines which are then self-learning. And it's these self-learning capabilities that we need to then interpret and integrate within business processes, and that's very much going to be the skill set that's required. So we're very proud to be a participant in the Centre of Excellence that Deakin have established, and also to be participating in this course. And we wish Deakin all the best for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cameron. Now, I don't think Bart is here. Sorry, we didn't see you coming in. I just worried that you might have gone to the wrong campus. Bart Watson from SAS.
Thanks very much.
We've got a slide in there.
I'm actually filling in for Gareth Clayton today, who will be involved in the course.
We do
But
have a slide.
do have a slide? Can we jump back to my other one? Sorry. Excellent. That's fine.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much. Yeah. My name's, as Dineli said, my name's Bart Watson. I'm a technical consultant at SAS. I've been an analytics professional for about 8 years now, having actually started my career at the Australian Bureau of Statistics using SAS as a statistician. And in that time, the market's changed a lot. At SAS, our business analytics advisory practice and our consulting practice really form the mainstay of the services we provide to the market. Now, our business analytics advisory practice assists business leaders solve some of the most challenging problems and assist them in formulating their analytics strategy. And obviously, the consulting practice, where I'm from, we assist businesses by implementing business solutions using our software. SAS, like many of the consulting practices here today, view analytics as a core business process that it's got to begin with a business problem. We use our technology to empower people to be able to deliver business solutions. The technological and domain expertise of our employees helps SAS lead the way in high performance analytics, empowering our customers to tackle complex business problems with big data. And our entire business revolves around solving these complex problems with our software. For example, our global consulting practice has solved a range of real-world problems, such as combating fraud in financial services, expediting drugs to market in life science and big pharma, and identifying cross-sell opportunities in retail, as well as challenges facing every other industry, such as increasing the value of customer relationships, managing risk, optimizing IT networks, all through industry and cross-functional solutions that reflect our domain expertise. Now, SAS addresses these big, complex business issues using a foundation of three capabilities that are going to be covered in the Deakin course. Firstly, there's information management, business intelligence, and of course analytics, and specifically predictive analytics. Now, for the students who choose to take the challenge and join the Masters of Business Analytics here at Deakin, SAS offers what we offer all SAS users, which is a range of education and resources that will assist you in your studies and obviously in your career after your Masters. Those include a wealth of online statistical resources at support.sas.com and also a really strong user community through sponsorship of our local user groups. The one here in Melbourne is called SMUG. These user groups are run by SAS users for SAS users with very little input from us. And not only are you going to learn about real-world applications of SAS in solving business problems at these events, they'll also provide a valuable networking opportunity to meet other SAS users and analytics professionals. So some of the other opportunities that SAS can provide students of the Business Analytics Masters here at Deakin are really two ways. The first two pathways. The first pathway is in a career at one of SAS's clients as an analytics professional. Now, SAS will actually facilitate these placements through the work placement program that we offer out of our Sydney office. And this assists students by matching them with one of our clients for a summer internship. The second one is obviously direct employment opportunities through our annual graduate program. And if you want more information about either of these, Geordie and I will be around after to assist. But really, analytics offers a challenging and ever-changing career, and there's unlikely to be a shortage of great opportunities, both locally and globally in the future. So best of luck to those of you who choose to undertake the program, and thanks for your time this evening.
Thank you very much, Bart. Okay, let's now have a look at the course a little bit more. So as I said earlier, one of the key features of the course is the breadth of its curriculum. So rather than focusing on just data analytics, this course spans the full value chain of business analytics. So if you start with the capture of the data, using that data, analyzing it, unveiling the insights, using those insights to make better decisions, and then plugging some of that back into the data you collect. So essentially we see 3 skill sets in here, or 3 discipline groups in here: information management, data analytics, and the decision modeling and the business value. So our course, if you look at the compulsory subjects, span this full spectrum. So students going out with this course are qualified to work in business analytics, not just doing the data analytics. This is the course structure for someone who would be studying full-time. So as I said, at Deakin we have a trimester system, 3 teaching periods in a year. If you're studying full-time, you would take typically 4 units of study. So the course has 7 compulsory units, or core units as we call them, and 4 electives. The electives can be taken from anywhere, so any master's units at Deakin. You could select a specialization, for example, in an area like finance, or you could cherry pick units, one from IT, one from finance, one from marketing, whatever you want. So you can add depth or breadth as you want it. And if you don't want a full master's, you can do a graduate diploma. So if you do the graduate diploma, you lose out on some of the the return on investment units, and you lose out on 1 elective. If you're studying part-time, then you would typically do 2 subjects per trimester. And because of our trimester system, you can still complete your master's in 2 years. Otherwise, it'll be a year and a half if you take just two semesters of study only. Now let's have a look at the delivery, which is quite unique. So apart from being on campus and off campus, the off campus, as I mentioned earlier, has very good online resources. So we have a learning management system where all the material will be there. We'll run live webcasts. We are using things like Google Hangout for you to join in on on-campus sessions. We are also going to have a SharePoint site for the course so students can interact with each other, and we can put course level resources for you to engage with. So every core unit will be offered 2 out of 3 trimesters. Again, you don't have to wait a long time. Subjects will keep coming up. And over the summer trimester, we will offer some of the subjects in block mode or intensive mode. So you might come in for 3 days in a week, another 3 days, be away for a week, another 3 days, and you're done. So you can get a subject out of the way quite quickly. And then we're going to have a residential week somewhere in the middle for off-campus students, if they want to come on campus, to meet the academic staff, to catch up on things they've fallen behind on, and also to engage with on-campus students. So we will run our careers events with our industry partners in those weeks, so off-campus students can engage as if they were on campus and go back. The other thing is the way we deliver the units of study. So I mentioned earlier that we will break each unit into 3 modules. So at Deakin, our trimesters are 12 weeks this year. They're dropping to 11 weeks from next year. So we're going to have 3 weeks on for 1 module. Then you have a week off as a reading week. So it's not a holiday, but you don't have to come on campus. You can catch up on your assignments. Most subjects will have assessment every module. So that's your week to catch up. And then module 2 and module 3. If you think that you are comfortable with module 1 and you don't really need to follow the lectures, you can just do the assessment. So we're very flexible. The course is designed for people who are working, and we expect that a lot of students will come with certain skills that we might be thinking they don't have. So we are open to ideas to see what you need to cover. So the weekly lectures that we do have on campus will be in the evening. So we'll typically start from 4 o'clock. The weekly lectures will be at the Burwood campus, but we are exploring the possibility of offering this course in the city from next year. So that's another option that's available. There are no exams, you'll be very pleased to hear. So it's assessment, either individual or group-based assignments, and students will complete their assignments by the time the trimester finishes. And finally, let's have a look at admission. So the course is designed for people who have a bachelor's degree and 3 years of experience in a business environment. We don't care what your bachelor's degree is. In fact, we would like to have a really nice mix of students in the classroom so that we have experts from different industry sectors coming in and bringing that knowledge to share with their peers. Just as we are teaching 3 times a year, we're going to have 3 intakes. So the first intake for this course is in July, and then we'll have another intake in November and in March, and then we keep going from there. Applications are all online, very simple. Get onto the Deakin homepage and you'll see the application portal there. You have to provide your CV and 2 referees who can validate your professional experience, and there's also an online application form to fill with that. And applications for July open next week on the 22nd. In terms of course fees, we've got an introductory price this year. So it's just over 22,000. From next year, fees will go up. Now fees we say they're indicative fees because fees are actually calculated depending on the subjects you choose. So some discipline clusters are more expensive than others. So depending on the electives you choose, it could vary. So approximately 2,800 per unit of study. And next year we expect the fees to be around the 25,000 mark. Okay, that's the end of the formal part of the presentation. We are now going to take some questions. We'll start with the audience here, and then we'll have a look at what questions we have from the webinar participants. So for the webinar participants, if you have any questions, we don't want to put you on audio because we don't have a microphone attached to that particular laptop. So please type your questions in, and Maral and Jamie will pass it on to us. So can we take some questions from the audience?
How many
Yes,
students
John?
are you expecting in any given year once it ramps up? More than you can handle.
Look, probably because students are studying part-time, we expect a high proportion of students to study part-time. So we'd love to have an intake of 100, 150, but it'll probably translate to about having 40, 50 in the classroom in any given subject.
Okay, that's a decent number.
Yeah, absolutely. But we don't want it to be too big. We're going to be very selective. Any other questions? No? Jamie, do we have any questions
Yes, we've
from?
got 2.
Okay,
So,
why don't you
sorry, let me
repeat the
just-
question and then...
Okay, so the first one's around credit for prior learning. So there's a student who's doing a master's at another university and wants to transfer. So generally, if you've done a master's or you've done study elsewhere, you can get credit for prior learning. Up to, I think, a maximum of 4 subjects, and they may be the electives or some of the core units. And the question there is around the technology. So what technology do you have to buy, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Yes, so I think the answer generally is none. All of the technology is provided by our partners and generally available on the cloud.
Okay, how many class sessions in a week?
It depends on how many subjects you do. So
Typically 3 hours
yeah, so per subject, if you're a part-time student doing 2 subjects a trimester, you'd expect to come in 2 evenings, and typically a 3-hour class each evening.
Okay. Are there internships as part of the course?
As you can do that as part
Repeat
of
the question as well.
So are there internships as part of the course? You could pick up an internship as one of the elective subjects. Yes.
Are there options for obtaining credit for undergraduate programs?
No.
No.
So if you've just got an undergraduate degree, you cannot get credit for that.
Are there scholarship schemes available? So not within the course, but the university does have scholarship programs, but we don't manage that within our faculty.
Yeah.
Does the student have to be in Victoria? No.
No, so you'll be using technology such as the webinar, and as Dineli mentioned before, we're trialling Google Hangout and a few other different technologies in terms of the interactive side for off-campus students.
Okay, is there accreditation for analytics? And I think we'll pass this to Doug.
Do you want to just come up here, Doug, so they can hear?
We actually do get a lot of questions about accreditation. I think especially international students are keen to make sure that the degree is recognised. So I think this is something that...
Well, certainly the founder of IAPA, Dr. Ina Kolishkina, has been working with Dineli in putting the course construct together. We've also developed a set of educational competencies. So the IAPA board have been working on that. They'll be published soon, and they will form the foundation of an accreditation. But we're a way off a formal launch of the accreditation. We are a not-for-profit voluntary board, and as such, As you can imagine, introducing in accreditation is a significant exercise. So we won't put a timeline on that, but we are putting in the educational competency, which will give the framework to underpin accreditation. And by being a first mover and by working and cooperating with the IAPA board, you can be assured that the industry body will look very kindly on any qualifications coming out of Deakin.
Thank you very much, Doug. I've got to say the webinar participants are putting you to shame. There's questions popping up before I can read them. Okay, let's take a question from here.
Yeah, so the course is very broad, covering a lot of different areas. So I suppose I'm curious to know the types of roles that you would expect once you finish the course. Would they be very specialised roles? So in that case, they'll be looking for more specific things. Or is it more general management type roles in terms of designing, implementing a analytics transformation project? So I'm just curious to know what sort of roles you would expect once you finish the degree.
I think a bit of both, but globally there's a lot more demand for managers who can use analytics to inform their decisions. So the latter, the breadth. If you saw the media clip earlier, the McKinsey report, for example, in the same article they talked about much less, about a fifth in demand in terms of data analytics experts themselves. So I think that for anyone working in any industry to be able to use analytics intelligently, so the analytics software tools are great, but you need to know what you're doing with them. So you don't have to write your algorithms, you don't need to write your own programs. But if you understand the methodology behind it, if you understand how these models are built, then you can take that to whatever area you're working in. So, yes, yeah, definitely.
Sure. Obviously, working with clients and also seeing from industry, I think the nature of this course will enable you to choose. So you know, depending on the electives you choose and how deep you go technically, there is a huge amount of work for practitioners. But as Dineli says, any business process requires analytical input and integration. And what we're seeing out in the world of clients who need this is a lack of understanding of analytical processes, how to direct an analytical team to get what they want from a commercial outcome. So by going through this course, you're going to be well-rounded and being able to lead analytics teams. Or if you choose to go more technical with your electives, you could actually be a leading practitioner as well. So I think it comes down to the individual, that the demand will be there for both. One thing I would say is that, like most industries, disintermediation is here, and it's here right now. So the lowest level skills technically can easily be provided offshore by lower wage paying countries. So again, your ability to differentiate through going up this learning curve and understanding the value from analytics is your opportunity to remain employable. So that'll be my comment.
Great. Thank you very much, Doug. So questions, any more questions from the audience? Yes. Go on, it's fine.
I'm just curious in terms of industry expertise. Obviously, that's a big part of knowing how to design analytics teams and projects. So, just curious to know how that would relate to this type of role. So, are the analytics skills transferable, or does it require the domain knowledge in the different industries to really get those good jobs?
The analytics program itself is very transferable. So we are allowing students to use the electives to get sector knowledge if they want, or depth. But the skills you learn, so if you look at just the analytics core, we've got exploratory data analysis and visualization. So that looks at historical data, looking at patterns, describing things, making inferences, and then how you visualize that. Then we've got predictive analytics, looking at model building and actually forecasting into the future. And then we have decision analytics, where we look at the business modeling, the decision analytics, the risk analysis side of it. So it really doesn't matter what area you're working in. Those are transferable and globally transferable. It's not anything unique here. Yes?
Yeah, just thinking about work and busy and not so busy times of the year. Is there flexibility in terms of doing more or less papers during the program?
Absolutely. So as a part-time or full-time student, you choose your load. The other thing about Deakin is that you can actually take some of your subjects off campus and some on campus. So you can take a hybrid load. So if you get really busy, you can say, I'll only take one subject, or don't study that trimester. That's allowed as well.
Okay,
Yes?
No exams?
No exams. Isn't that fantastic?
I don't know.
Oh, look, we believe in authentic assessment, especially at postgraduate level. So I think collaborative problem solving, getting different people's perspectives in, working with people. So you could be doing an assignment where you have a student who's based in New South Wales, another student in India, and two here. So you'll be on, Google Hangout having a conversation about it or using our webinar tools. And I think there's so much more to learn from that experience than sitting an exam.
Has that been proven in other areas too?
Absolutely, yes.
Is it pretty common now?
Yeah, it is.
Experiential
Absolutely.
assessments are the way to go now. So you're actually dealing with real problems rather than just an examination, which is regurgitating concepts or terminology. This is about solving a real problem.
And often with the business problem, there is no one right answer. It's about how good your solution is. Yes?
Just interested in the comment you make about Google Hangout. You said you're trialling that.
Yes.
Have you used something similar in the past, or is this the first time you've?
Well, we are running it at the moment. Bart, do you want to answer that? We've got one of our lecturers who uses Google Hangout or has been using for a while at the back there.
We're currently using it in an MBA subject. We are trialing it at the moment, so the technology will certainly be ready once we get into the analytics course. So it's going well so far, but it is always a matter of how big we scale, and we can only scale it as big as student enrollment. So when we have 100 students, it might be a different technology, but for the start, it will definitely be good.
And the webinar technology we use is interactive. So these students at the moment are on, the participants are on mute, but we are running lectures at the moment where a student who's listening on a webinar can actually ask a question. We can transfer the camera to them so we can actually see them, hear them, and they can see what's going on here. So it's very, very interactive. Yes, Nick.
Thank you. How do you see this course internationally, both in terms of perhaps its recognition internationally, but also have you looked in the development of this course at international examples and how they've been run and their success?
Every one of them. We researched every program that's there, and the key difference is the breadth. So a lot of the programs in the US focus either on applied statistics or operations research. So very much the I-shaped skill set, very, very in-depth data scientist skill set. And some of the programs also focus on a particular area. So there's a master's that focuses around customer analytics. So very, very specialized programs. In the UK, most of the programs are operations research management science-based programs, so looking at optimization modeling. So this is the first program globally, unless someone's beaten us to it since we did the research, that actually covers the full breadth. And it turned out that way because of the input we got from industry. So we spoke to all of the consulting firms that have analytics practices. We spoke to all the software vendors. And we asked them the question, what do you do? What skill set do you want in your team? And this was the answer. They said having people who are very, very good at data science alone isn't enough, because they only see the data, they don't see the context, they don't see the perspectives, and they don't see how that adds business value. Whereas if you have people who understand data and understand what is structured, unstructured data, what data cleansing is, and how that data came to be, then whatever analysis they do with it has a different perspective, and they can also understand how that's going to help the organization. And one of the key things with analytics projects is that it's not like a normal IT project that has a start and an end date. It goes on and on. It's an iterative process. So you learn from the first time you do the analytics, you put that learning back in, you get better information the next time around, you capture information you didn't have before, and then you keep improving. So it's a process of evolution, really. Yeah. Thank you very much.